Hi everyone, welcome to the BioEdge.
Butyric acid is a rather misleading chemical substance because at face value it seems to be a stinky um, nuisance of a chemical that's been used, for example, by Greenpeace in harassing Japanese whalers. It's so stinky it can be used as a kind of a stink bomb missile, a harmless but offensive substance that can put people off. But at a different level, there's an argument for the possibility that butyric acid actually constitutes a previously unrecognized vitamin in human physiology. Let's just walk ourselves through that argument very briefly. Um, there are essentially two sources of butyric acid in the diet of most humans. One is butter, which is by far the best source of preformed butyric acid in the diet. And in fact, butyric acid is named after butter. And the second source is butyric acid produced by our own gut bacteria in the colon from plant fiber. When you eat fibrous foods such as celery, carrot, even potato, the relatively soft fiber consisting of cellulose in the food is not digested by any enzyme produced by the human body, but is instead digested by cellulase enzymes produced by the friendly bacteria in our guts. Now, it may not seem that the fermentation function by bacteria is very important in the human gut by comparison with, for example, horses and ruminants, where it's extremely important. But in as much as we do have fermentation in our colon, we actually produce many of the same substances that are produced in the full-out fermentation systems of really committed herbivores, such as horses and ruminants. And one of the so-called volatile fatty acids that's produced by this bacterial fermentation is, in fact, butyric acid. Now, because butyric acid has been studied mainly in the context of herbivores such as horses and ruminants, it's always been assumed to be merely another energy source absorbed by these animals as a volatile fatty acid and metabolized for its energy value in the mitochondria of the cells. But the more one looks at butyric acid, the more it seems that in humans at any rate, butyric acid may function instead as a vitamin, and that it's possible, therefore, to be deficient in butyric acid, even in the presence of a diet that supplies everything else in sufficiency. Now, two ways of becoming deficient in butyric acid for a human are, firstly, to eat too little fiber, and that's a common affliction these days. We have extremely processed diets. And the second way is to avoid butter. So if you're on a diet where you're neither eating very much fibrous food nor eating any butter, and the second predicament is also very likely these days because people are remarkably indoctrinated against saturated fats in general and dairy fats in particular, then you might well find yourself subclinically deficient in butyric acid, which would be a surprise because, as I said, if you mention the term butyric acid to most people who have some knowledge of organic chemistry, they'll probably think of the stink of butyric acid rather than the nutritional value of that substance. Butyric acid, after all, gives vomit its smell, and is also present in the offensive secretions of certain carnivorous mammals, such as the wolverine. So one can be forgiven for dismissing butyric acid as a kind of a stinky substance that has a kind of a fecal odor and is therefore in the category of a waste product rather than a nutritious and essential substance. But at least in humans, there is an argument for this substance being in reality a vitamin, a previously unrecognized vitamin? And if so, we'd be well advised to think about where we're getting butyric acid. In the old days, our Aboriginal ancestors who ate a very simple, unrefined diet would have got plenty of butyric acid from the plant fibers that they ate via their friendly colon bacteria. And when people started domesticating dairy animals, there was an additional source of butyric acid in the form of the butter fat in whole fat or whole cream dairy products. So there was never any problem in the past. And because the sources of butyric acid were plentiful in the original Aboriginal human diet, we lost the ability to a large degree to synthesize butyric acid in our own cells. Now, with that background in mind, a modern scenario of a very fiber-poor diet and a fat-free diet with a particular bias against butterfat has led to a situation where many people could be subclinically deficient in butyric acid. And one of the surprising symptoms of such deficiency might be a proclivity to diseases such as skin cancer, which have been previously explained in different ways involving exposure to sunlight. So there's a lateral thought about a possible new vitamin in the human diet, and we look forward to further research on that. And in the meantime, let's look forward to seeing you next time for another BioBullet here at the BioEdge. And until then, it's bye for now.